Battenberg back here with you. It's the Look Ahead here on ViSN, the Sports Betting Network. Joined in studio now by Scott Robin, who operates Vital Vegas. If you want to know anything about what's going on in Vegas, you have to follow Vital Vegas. And judging by the hundreds of thousands of followers that he has, you probably already do follow Vital Vegas. I can tell you now, Scott, that anything that you tweet out that's like relevant to what's going on, which everything's relevant to what's going on in the city, but my brother has lived out here for, 15, 20 years. He works over on the Strip, and I always send him your tweets saying, hey, did you see this? Did you see what they're doing with the Hard Rock? Did you see what they're doing with the MSG Sphere? Did you see everything? You're up to date. You must have incredible sources when it comes to what's going down in this city.
Well, they do. They've gotten much better, and for whatever reason, there's folks, they're sitting in top secret confidential meetings, and they're sending me stuff. I'm not going to say no. I just find the whole conversation about Las Vegas interesting. Mm-hmm. So if I can get a scoop or a tip or something behind the scenes, I think people enjoy it as much as I do, because that's the only thing people have in common, say, that follow my Twitter account, is their enjoyment of Vegas. And their views about everything else is polar opposites, but we all agree on Vegas. And so that's part of the fun, is sharing that stuff before other traditional media might have it. That's my claim to fame.
Well, you've seen Vegas grow as a sports city, whether it's, the Raiders coming here, with the Knights first, then the Raiders. You broke the name of the WNBA team, the Aces. We know that. And now I'm following your account to get any information I can about a possible new baseball stadium, maybe the Oakland A's. What rumors have you been hearing so far?
It's so interesting, because that story, especially about baseball, has just been going on for years.
Yes.
So at one time, there was a group of folks that were very interested in purchasing the Rio. They were absolutely planning to build a stadium on that site, mm-hmm. and that group of buyers fell out of the running. So now, fast forward to today, where we've got the A's kind of. We don't know if the A's are using this as some kind of leverage or if they're really serious, but I know for sure I'm sure you've talked about it extensively here. They've had meetings with everybody. They've talked about different potential sites for this arena, the baseball
stadium,
ballpark. Yes.
Venue.
So they're talking about this the Rock and Rio site at the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara. That was one of the possible locations. They've talked to folks to the South Strip, which to me has always made more sense than trying to squeeze this thing into a site.
I think I saw a report opposite the Link, not opposite the Luxor. I think that they were checking the land over there.
Now there's some really interesting rumors about the Luxor and Excalibur, because for years MGM has really wanted to knock these things down. There are a lot of reasons for that. They're a little long in the tooth. So there was a round of soliciting bids for demolition. They have not announced that. It's unconfirmed. Nobody will say it out loud, but this has been an ongoing discussion for multiple years. So there was some discussion that the Raiders would find a way to use some of that land to rent it, potentially parking, potentially other purposes. But I don't think anything's out of the realm of possibility. But I think the bigger question is really, are the A's serious about moving?
Yeah.
And I did a tweet 3 years ago where I said we're going to have to get used to Las Vegas Athletics. So if that should happen, that's the team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to confirm this stuff, because I'm very, very honest about this not being my wheelhouse. But so much of it overlaps with my world, because nothing exists in a vacuum. So sports doesn't exist in a vacuum. Circa is an amazing resort, but you can't ignore the sports component. There's also a pool component. So anything that relates to sports in Vegas, there's the sports, but there's also the other ancillary businesses, how it affects the resorts. The location of this place is going to be huge. I think the same is true for basketball. So depending on who gets them, where they go, where they end up, it's going to change that whole area. As T-Mobile has changed that whole area, and
listen, I see
Allegiant has changed that whole area.
I see it by me. I live by in Green Valley by the Dollar Loan Center, and this arena is coming up. I just saw the field today with the Nighthawks, which is the indoor football team that's going to play there. Obviously, it's going to be the home of the Henderson Silver Knights, who will play there as well, and I think the Aces might be moving. So a lot of stuff going on there. It's about to be a busy time here in town. College basketball is huge in Vegas. We're going to have 4 conference tournaments over the next month here in town. You'll have action at Thomas and Mack. You'll have action at the T-Mobile, the Orleans. So this city is about to get an influx of a ton of people to get ready and watch college basketball. What tips, what advice would you give to some people coming into town, whether they want to bet on the games, watch the games, go to the arenas, experience the food, the nightlife, the dining? What could you say to somebody that has never been to Vegas that is coming here for college basketball in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it transforms the town. It blows all the reservations out for every restaurant. In my world, I'm typically helping people navigate staying away from the events where it's these one-off, could be a weekend, could be a week.
Parking goes up,
during
prices
the rodeo.
go up.
Yeah. I mean, it's true of everything, but especially with March Madness, same with Super Bowl. It's kind of you really just have to plan ahead, and you really can't assume that even your usual contacts or an extra tip is going to get you into that restaurant. That's always my advice: is you really have to plan ahead, make a reservation. You better start now if it's for March Madness. Get your reservation in, book your room. You're going to feel a little discomfort in your nether regions when you see those room rates on those dates because the town fills up, and it's very exciting, but it creates a lot of logistical issues for kind of the recreational traveler who's may not even be coming to town for anything sports related. They have to figure out how to navigate that. So
yeah, and in 2 years when the Super Bowl is here, 2024, I'm sure it's going to be even more of a logistical nightmare.
I mean, the locals they're just going to hunker down.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just going to they've got to understand, if you like going to the Strip, not a ton do, it's a small percentage, but the folks that love going to the Strip, you better just figure on staying out in Summerlin for a few days. And, you really just have to get used to the idea that the traffic, even during the draft, I think it's just going to be, you're going to bump into stuff that it really becomes challenging for a lot of these casino employees because they've got no choice. They might have 2 ways to get to that casino, but there's no way you can bypass what this is going to turn into, no matter where it is, especially for events that might close down Las Vegas Boulevard. They're doing a lot at Bellagio and the Fountains for the draft, and so you're stuck, and everybody just better calm down because we're coming out of a period where road rage is kind of a national pursuit now. Everybody's just more frustrated with each other and more rude to each other, tipping less. And so sports, big sporting events can collide with those people just trying to live their lives or go on vacation. So planning ahead and probably some kind of strong medication, an emotion leveling medication, of course prescribed. But I think that's going to help.
Now, I noticed you're here at Circa a lot, a couple times a week. What are you playing? What machines are you playing? What tables are you playing? What's your action here?
Well, I sit in the sports book and just watch the whole time. No, I just watch you guys up here in the booth because it's kind of fascinating. No, I love Circa. I always love downtown, and Circa is definitely that bridge between kind of the older, grittier, downtown, value-driven. It's not as value-driven as some of the other spots down here, but it's an extra level of clean and new and dancery and sports and pool. So it's not my usual vibe because it's quite loud. You wouldn't notice it in the studio, but it's a different volume than most casinos. But I like to focus my play where I'm going to get comps.
Sure.
So the loyalty club rewards me for my massive losses, which I appreciate. So I sit at Overhang Bar. There are multiple good bars here and decent video poker. I was informed by someone who is much better at math than I am. But he said that some of this video poker is decent. I just sit. I enjoy the banter. And the people watching is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And there's not, for someone who doesn't naturally gravitate towards sports or sporting events, I absolutely love watching the sports book. I love being around the sports book because
Well, we love having you here at the Sports Book. He's Scott Robin. You got to check out Vital Vegas. A must follow on Twitter. This is the look ahead here on ViSN.